Recording started. Thank you.
All right, let me share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So for this meeting, I just want to do a brief update of the Harbor 2.0 progress, and then we'll do a quick demo of the HARP, the current 2.0 web interface. Then we'll take some questions. And so first of all, 2.0 is the next version of Harbor that we're releasing. Looks like mid-April to late April, and basically, we call it 2.0 because it's the next iteration of Harbor, and it will support other cloud-native artifacts beyond just Helm charts and container images. And so you'll be able to host things like CNABs, OPAs, etc. And we did this by conforming to the OCI spec. So there's a runtime spec, and there's an image spec. So there's significant changes in the Harbor architecture on the engineering side. And so there's going to be a big change on the APIs. And so the upgrade and the migration is a big effort that we're working on currently. And so what's done already is the basic artifact module, some of the features like retention, immutability, I think replication scanning are all taken care of. And garbage collection was finished recently. Actually, replication we're doing right now, replication, quota, scanning, upgrading, and migration. And then we'll be doing some conformance. There's an official OCI conformance test for registry vendors. So the timeline, it looks like right now it's going to be around early April or mid-April to late April. So I will do a quick demo of the new UI that we've already finished.
By the way, a quick update for everybody. So in the past, we've communicated that we're going to ship Harbor 2.0 near KubeCon timeframe. So it looks like some of the work taking longer to bake than expected, and we're going to push the release out by a couple of weeks. So we're hopefully that we're going to release 2.0 by end of April. And there's several members of the community that have talked about wanting to come in and help us test and validate this. So if anybody wants to help us in any area, just reach out to Alex or Jonas directly.
Okay, so this is the 2.0 interface. So it hasn't changed too much from the previous 1.0 or the 1.x, but we've added a dark mode right now. And so when you come into the web UI, most of the modules are still there. But if you go into the projects tab, so I have a project here called OCI, the purpose of this demo, that I've created a repository with 4 artifacts. And if we drill into it, we can see artifacts that were pushed onto Harbor from different tooling. We use the CNAB to OCI client, as well as an ORS client, which are both for pushing CNABs. And we can also push Helm via Helm 3. So there's a Helm chart here. This is a basic container image, and these two are CNABs that were pushed via CNAB to OCI and ORS. Right? And you can tell based on the logos that we've added here. So if we look in.
Hey, Alex, really quickly,
Yep.
I'm assuming I'm going to replace the logos with something that supports dark mode versus just regular mode, right? Like the logos need to be inverted as well. Like the Helm logo, I'm assuming they have a dark mode logo as well. That's one point of feedback, so we need to make sure that that happens. The second thing is under tags, what it is, if it says image or chart, like for example, a Helm chart is the actual name, the chart is capitalized. And the CNAB bundle is an acronym, right? So it needs to be capitalized as well. So let's make sure that the actual name that's under the tag conforms with the true name of whatever the artifact is. The second thing I want to mention for everybody is in the past when Harbor put artifacts in the repository, if you didn't have a tag for something, like for example, latest or version 1.2, you couldn't really see it in the UI. Now you can. So that's actually a big change from what we had in the past, that now you can actually see all artifacts that are part of a repository, whether they have a tag or not. And it will make it a more usable experience.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a fit and finish for the UI. There's lots of things that, so this is definitely not the polished version. This is just what we have for the demo right now. But anyway, yeah, going into an artifact, right? This is just a container image. So you can see the biggest change from the previous version was that, you know, on the previous UI, every row within the repository page represents a tag. And here we've consolidated all the tags onto a single artifact, right? So the tags are just metadata. One of the problems we were trying to solve was on the previous 1.x, whenever you deleted a Docker tag, you end up deleting the image digest, which means deleting all the other associated tags. So by creating a separate artifact struct, another data structure, we were able to separate the harbor tags or the Docker tags from the artifact itself, right? So the user interacts with the harbor tags without actually deleting the deleting the digests. So on an artifact, you can see the list of tags that is associated. You can also add and remove tags. So this part is completely new. There's some extra attributes here, the architecture, OS, things like that. And then you can do vulnerability scanning beneath. And then we have a Helm chart here. So you can see all the attributes from the Helm chart that was pushed. This is pushed via Helm 3. Also, you can add tags to it, do scanning, etc. And then finally, this is a CNAB. So CNAB is basically a bundling of images. It leverages the OCI image layout. So it's what's called a fat manifest, which is like a JSON that bundles together a bunch of container images. So this CNAB is there isn't any images bundled within, but if it had images bundled within, you could drill into it and you can look at for example, you could look at the attributes and the vulnerabilities at the individual referenced image level. You can also see the scan result of a complete bundle.
Hey, Alex, you want to talk a little bit about that discussion we had yesterday about how we do vulnerabilities on CNAB bundles when they're referenced versus included?
Yeah, so right now we just have before 2.0 we just have whether it has vulnerabilities or not. So it's just a pass or fail. But with a CNAB, because it contains multiple reference images, it's possible that we can only scan partial CNAB. We can only scan parts of the reference images. In which case we would show like a partial success. And so we have a partial success in addition to just a success or a fail. So the value of the CNAB is the reason it was popular, at least, I think last year it got a lot of traction because it allows image relocation. So it solves a very specific problem around image relocation, which means that the CNAB bundle itself could sit somewhere, but the reference images within could be relocated to another private registry. So at the time, there isn't a registry that can host CNABs, right? And so they had a requirement to relocate the images referenced within to a Docker registry. So these are the artifacts that we can host on Harbor. We're keeping the Helm charts for now. So this is Helm charts that were uploaded via Chart Museum. This will most likely be deprecated at some point, and we'll have all Helm charts consolidated in a single place. So right now there are 2 places you can see Helm charts, here and within the repositories as well. We have some other attributes like annotations, which is coming from the OCI image spec. And there's some changes, like the labels are now at the artifact level instead of at the tag level. And there's also some change to the behavior of tag retention and quotas. But it's a little complicated. I'll probably go over that for the next community meeting once that's finished up. All right, so I'm gonna pause for a second and see if anyone had any questions on this.
Yeah, real quick on the Helm chart stuff. Does that create a separate index YAML for each repository? So you'd add it to, you'd register the repo in your Helm CLI that's repository specific, or is there one that it's a higher abstraction? Or sorry, higher layer?
I have to double check on that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you'd see it here, like if it would be exposed in this artifact, the index, the Helm chart index, or if it's somewhere else. It's part of the API itself.
Yeah, let me figure that out and get back to you.
Okay. Yeah. And are you doing scanning for the Helm charts as well? You mentioned the CNAB. It's just going through each of those and looking for image references and then passing those off to the scanning system?
I don't think scanning is possible for Helm charts right now, at least the scanning solutions that we have right now. So the scanning for the CNABs is just scanning each individual reference image, and then it'll aggregate those into a single report back to on the UI. So you can drill into the CNAB, or you can drill. You're basically drilling into an OCI index. So the behavior of CNAB follows the behavior of OCI index, which means we allow viewing at the individual level, but we don't allow actions like deleting them.
Okay.
So you can't replicate a reference image within an OCI index unless it's outside of the index itself, right? So it could be shared. It could be something that was pushed previously prior to the OCI index. So they could be shared. If it existed outside outside of the OCI index, then you can operate on it because it'll be shown separately on a separate line. But if it's a part of an OCI index, then you can only view it. You can't delete it. You can't scan it, etc.
Okay. Are you guys interested in adding Helm chart scanning support for some definition of scanning? Yeah,
definitely. I don't think we've had time to really look into that for now because most of the effort is concentrated on making sure the existing feature set of Harbor works for 2.0. So that's taking up a lot of time. But the next step is really to expand support. We always lack a lot of things like tag retention. That's also missing for Helm chart. So we want to get that feature parity for Helm chart as well as container images. So
gotcha.
It's definitely on the roadmap.
Yeah, we've been thinking about that at Anchor as well, kind of what scanning a Helm chart really means, and how it could be implemented. So that's certainly a discussion I'd be interested in having with you guys moving forward, understanding what approach you'd like, what you think makes sense from a registry perspective. And our frame of reference typically is CI focused, like CI/CD workflow focused, but I think there'd be a ton of overlap, most likely.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Thanks. That's it for me.
So that's basically all I had for this demo. I think some of the APIs are done for like the replications and quotas, but I don't have a lot of confidence that it works. So, for this community meeting, it was mostly about demonstrating how the artifacts would show up on the Harbor UI and some of the break change. Yep.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you, Alex.
All right. So, does anyone have any other questions related to the project?
I guess one more. You mentioned it's called 2.0 because it's just the next version. Is this a major version bump indicating there's backwards compatibility changes, or will it be upgradable directly from the previous release?
So it's upgradable from the previous release. We're working on that, but the API is basically changed. The APIs have been bumped up to a next version.
Okay.
The actual API content is the same. It's just the in the URI, it's just a simple V1 to V2 URI.
Okay.
But no other substantial or material API change.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Oh, okay. So so that's a demo for the Harbor UI 2.0, and then for 2.0, we're also going to be releasing operator Harbor, a Harbor operator. So this was based on work that someone else had been doing, and they reached out to us to open source the operator under the Go Harbor repo. So this is something that the community has been asking for a long time, and we're glad that someone else already got started on it. So if anyone has interest in contributing to the Harbor operator or just giving some requirements, definitely check that out. We'll probably open source it under as a separate project under the Go Harbor repo very soon, in the next week or two, probably. So this will help us address some of the current shortcomings of the Docker Compose or the Helm version of Harbor, which is lacking in high availability, right, and certain deployment models. So the Harbor operator, which is divided into several components, will have enterprise grade high availability, which means HA for the Redis component, HA for the PG-SQL for the whole instance. So that's basically the two big announcements. This is all coming, very soon, in the next month or so. 2.0 and the operator. That's all I had for today's agenda. Questions, comments?
Cool. Well, we can probably end this call early if nobody has any concerns or anything. Well, obviously, as we start putting up the finishing touches for Harbor 2.0, if anybody has cycles to help us either with bug fixing, like I mentioned earlier, or even writing some documentation or validating some scenarios, we'd love to see that. Obviously, we want to get more and more of the community engaged. Zach, we're going to look to you and some of the other partners that we have in the pluggable scanner framework to validate their pluggable scanners once we have some early builds of the release. So ahead of time, thanking you for that work that you guys are going to do. But other than that, we'll keep moving forward. We'll be at KubeCon in Amsterdam, and hopefully by end of April we'll have a really, really solid release. Thank you all.
Sorry, just one more thing. This did remind me that another customer, I guess, had some requirements around scanning build packs, which are not built with a typical application manager. So I don't know if this is something that we could talk about this offline, Zach. But this is their user Harbor, but they can't scan their proprietary build packs because they've been using Claire. And so I told them that with the pluggable scanning framework, we can now they can use. I mean, from their perspective of using hardware, they can use any scanner that works, right? So I don't know if this is something that Encore can cover, but we can chat about that.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of our roadmap, we should be around the same time as you guys will be releasing the 2.0. We should be releasing our next enterprise version of Encore, which will include Windows image support as well, Windows scanning. And in the future, we're also looking towards support, like I said, scanning Helm charts and stuff. So the kind of those packages are certainly top of our mind for the semantics of what scanning them means.
Right. Yeah, I think Windows containers is something a lot of people have asked for.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thanks for attending. The next community meeting, we'll probably try to highlight some of the specific differences from the break change from the previous version, like the behavior around tag retention and quotas. There's definitely going to be some changes there, and hopefully we'll have a cleaner UI. And yeah, I'll demos pushing some artifacts to the hardware registry. So, yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all. Have a good day. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.